face. Awesome, Mozart. I will come and tell you everything about Istanbul. Awesome, man. We're really excited to hear. Like, I really want to hear how it went. If you had a good time, if you didn't have a good time. But I hear that you did have a good time. That's good to hear. I'm happy for you, man. But, I just gotta get this co-host set up. You get some sleep. Sleep is really important. Like, I had a student tell me today that he doesn't sleep at all. And I said, you gotta sleep, man. He's like, no, I don't have to sleep. And I'm like, you gotta sleep, man. So, make sure to go and get that done. The most essential part of life, besides drinking water and eating food. Hold on 1 second. Let me switch back to the thingy. I don't have hotkeys set up. I always confuse myself. I think that I have hotkeys and then I don't. And it is very infuriating. And I'm infuriated. I can't believe it. Alright. If you're wondering why I keep all this in my closet, you know what? It's really organized. Like, I actually organized my closet, guys. I did. Solo hi. Remember, turn down the music. You know what, man? I'm gonna mute the music. For once, I'm gonna make you happy. That music is gonna be muted. Alright, so let's see. You gotta monitor everything to make sure it's all working out well. Gotta make sure the microphone is still microphoning. It is. I'm surprised the mic is actually working because, you know how I've had problems like throughout like the last 5 streams with my microphone. Yeah, it just randomly started working. So, you know, not complaining. Not complaining at all. I was prepared to reinstall the drivers. Like, I wasn't planning on doing this right now. But I was able to because I didn't have to reinstall anything. It just all went in. Hey, Casper. How are you? See what I'm doing? I'm getting the iPad set up so we can do the call-in. You know, Enigma Man, since you are with Kelly, since you're with your girlfriend, you gotta marry her. Like, come on. But, okay, that's off topic. Since you're with your girlfriend, I'm going to invite Casper onto the show, so don't get jealous, okay? Don't get jealous. Let me see. Let's see. This is having connection issues last night. Like, I was trying to watch some videos. Don't ask what videos I was trying to watch. I was trying to watch them. And it didn't work. It really ticked me off. I'm not bothered about the foreigner. The foreigner, I see. I'm just making sure, man. Just making sure. So, I don't know why this is having connection issues. It's bothering me. Let's see. Can I even go to the interwebs? Hold on. I'm going to start the show. I'm with a girlfriend. Have him in as well. Yeah, I would have him in. Like, I like the more people, the better. But, you know, if he's not available, he's not available. So, what the heck? Mr. iPad. Okay, so, here, I'm going to roll the intro, guys, alright? So, welcome to EDrant, everyone! Welcome to EDrant, everyone, the show where we rant about education, technology, and New Scholar Academy. And we have a technology rant for us already. So you heard in the pre-show right now, this iPad really wants to connect to Discord. Actually, I want it to connect to Discord. It don't want to connect to Discord. So you can see right here, it has a bar. It literally has the bars right up there, right by the time, not the time, the battery percentage. But it just isn't working. So I'm gonna try and do a hard reset. This is how you hard reset your Apple devices. Pfft, women. I know, women. Jeez. Alright, so I'm gonna hard reset this device. How are y'all doing? Like, I'll get you in voice soon, Casper. But how are you doing? I know I'm doing pretty fine. I did not expect to be able to stream. Because I'm doing this New Scholar Academy, as you're all aware of. It takes the life out of you. Because you talk so much and you talk constantly last week it was like 4 periods in a row. You had first period, second period, back to first period. Then you had to talk at lunch to the new students. And then you had to do third period, fourth period. And now we have 1 period off, which is great. But, you know, I'm a glutton for punishment, so I always go and try and find some other class to attend and teach during that second period that I have off. So, you know, I'm working all these periods. Then after the bell, I'm, you know, rearranging the desks and I'm helping the teacher out with. Like, the teacher has to do all these new lesson plans because, as you're probably all aware of, the school did go through a rebranding and they changed all the classes that they have. So now the teacher that should be helping with us for the new Scholar Academy is kind of preoccupied helping everyone else with the new curriculum because she has to find a different textbook for, because what she's working on is the video game design class. And the problem with that is, let's see if this is working at all. Hold on one second. Don't know where I got Sekaruni from. You like that asthma? I have that asthma. Oh boy. Let's see. It says it's connecting. Look at this, Casper. It says it's connecting. Gotta show him the tab. But it isn't doing much of a connection, is it? Yeah, what's the problem here? Let me try and... Maybe that's the problem. I've never seen the SSID before. Never seen that wireless name before. Don't know why I was connected to that. Alright, this should work out a bit better. Let's see. Oh boy, so it looks like I'm getting tweets. Looks like I have something. And there we go. So I'm going to call you. Casper's going to join. And it's going to be awesome. Uh-oh. Okay, sure, you can access the microphone. How are you doing, Casper?
Oh, that was hella loud. I don't use Discord that much, but hello.
Well, hello. How are you doing?
You scared me with that.
Oh, jeez.
I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good. I was talking with Nissim, or I think you know him as the Jew. I was talking with him, and he left like 10 minutes ago, and I was actually about to go to sleep, but you know what? I'll stay.
Oh, geez.
You know, I'm fine.
Sleep is important. Like, I had one student for this new scholar camp that I'm doing say that he doesn't sleep at all. And I was like, you're lying, man. And he's like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, you're clearly lying. And then he told me that he owns 5,000 supercomputers, and he also owns a quantum computer. And I was like...
Oh, that's definitely not lying. No
definitely not. And he's like, no. He literally said, no, everything that I tell you is true. Except if I tell you that it's not true, then I don't know. He was really messing with my mind. I'm pretty sure he's insane or something. Like, no offense to him. Like, he's a nice kid and everything, but boy, he threw me through like 20,000 loops. Yeah,
I only own like 3 Concords and like 5 space shuttles, but you know, I'm not
just
really
a measly amount. It's like it took a lot of work to get all that, and it's like, yeah, it takes like 500 years of work.
How old was he? Like fucking like 13, and he's like owning
14.
like 5,000.
I know. He is like, so I fix computers for a living, and I was like, oh, that's cool, that's awesome. He was like, yep, I've been doing it since the day I was born, and I was like, you think that you think you've been doing it since you were literally a kid. Like 0 years old. Like
he does like board repairs like right when he come out of the womb. He came out of the womb with like a soldering iron in his hand.
Yep.
Like just completely fucking No, but about the sleep thing, like I'm fine. Like right now I'm in semester vacation, so I can do whatever the fuck I want. So I'm not really. I'm chilling. I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. I've been having troubles getting to sleep at an appropriate time. It's always like 1 in the morning, which you're probably like, that's early. But for me, like, I usually get to sleep by 10 p.m. Or I guess it'd be
I was always like super night owly. Like even when I was like your age, I was like, fucking 3 a.m. was early for me.
It just doesn't work when you have to wake up at 7 in the morning to get ready for work.
I made it work.
You did.
Seriously, it's it's better to have a lot of sleep and shit, or you know. You know, most mental issues are caused by sleep deprivation. Trust me, I know.
No wonder that kid has so many mental issues because he's barely sleep deprived. 3 a.m. is dinner time. I don't know, like if you're eating dinner that late or that early, I guess, in the morning, I think that's gonna mess with your metabolism. Like I've heard that you shouldn't eat past a certain time because then the way that the food metabolizes it, like, does it slower or something, and you apparently get fat if you do that. I don't know. And I've also heard that if you eat too quickly, that also makes you gain more weight for some reason. That doesn't really make any sense, but I've heard that.
I heard that as well. Though I'm not like a dietary expert, but I always eat like way too late as well. Like I never have breakfast, which is like the most important meal of the day.
Me too. Like well, bye.
Yes.
Oh, wait, are you still there?
Thanks. I'm just gonna let myself out. No, just okay. No, I always skip breakfast, which is like apparently like the most healthy meal of the day, and you're never supposed to skip that, but I never actually have breakfast.
Yeah, I just don't have time for it. I'm too busy.
Yeah, me too.
I'm too busy like waking up so late that I have to get ready, and then once I'm ready, it's just like get out the door and go to school. No, but
exactly, yeah.
I was confused because the iPad said, "Oh, your call failed," and then I was like, "Okay, so apparently it failed." Like, iPads are just kind of horrible sometimes. Like, Apple devices, they think that they can charge $1,000 for a stand, and look, you have people defending them. They're saying, "Oh yeah, of course, that $1,000 stand, that's perfectly justified." It's like, you cannot justify $1,000 for a stand, a monitor stand.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I've seen that Apple shit. Holy, I mean, they're just they're pushing it. They're checking what they can pull off. So,
they're probably laughing. They're probably like, "Oh, this is hilarious. This is just so hilarious. Let's see how much."
Yeah, because in production it costs them. There's no way it costs them even like $10, right? Like it's just a bit of glass with a bit of like metal inside, and that's it.
Exactly.
I mean,
and like maybe 3,000 for the monitor, like way like overpriced would be 3,000 for the monitor, but that would have to include a stand. Like I know that they say, oh well, if you compare it to professional studio monitors that cost like $50,000, I guess I can see that, but you're not gonna strap the Apple Cinema display to a camera, and those monitors are designed for cameras, so you can see it exactly in real time. So it's like
exactly, and you know here's the thing, right? So if they, you're like used to high prices by Apple, right? So if they would have like made the standard set cost a certain amount and just factored the 1,000 for the stand in with the set, right? Like so you get the monitor, the tower, and the fucking monitor holder or whatever you call it, the stand, that's what you call it. Like all together and charge that price. I mean, then people would be able to justify it, but that's like a sign of how cocky they're getting, that they're literally like putting a $1,000 monitor on its own on the market, which is like worth $10. It's quite insane, actually.
It is.
Like, and if Philips or some other company would pull this off, like everyone would just go ham on them.
No one would buy it. They'd just be like, nope, that's overpriced. But I bet that Apple probably already has thousands upon thousands of pre-orders.
Yeah, but Apple is such a cult. Like, I know people that just buy Apple because it's Apple. They like the interface, I guess. I never liked the interface of Apple. I was never a big fan.
Like, I'll never buy an Apple device unless I get it for the right price. If I can find like an iPhone 7 for $300, it's like, well, if you look at that compared to the Android, you probably can't get like the speed and the camera for $300. Like, I'd rather buy a used, like a 3-year-old flagship device than a brand new budget device, because I always say that the flagship was designed to be flagship, but the budget is designed to be budget.
Yeah. So, exactly. Like the budget devices are well worth it, actually. Honestly, I know some friends that are really happy with it. Me personally, I run an S6. I'm like more of an Android guy, so I run a Samsung Galaxy S6, and I run it since like 2015, like when it came out, and it has zero flaws. I love this phone. It has never let me down. I dropped it in water 3 times. It's definitely waterproof, and I dropped it fucking over 100 times, and it never broke. I gotta say, this phone has not let me down. It's like pretty good.
I've always wanted to look at the Android side of used devices. Like, original Google Pixel or something. And because I've always looked at phones for the cameras because I've never really been able to afford a DSLR or like a
it's not even worth it. It's not even worth it if you're not a photographer or something.
But I'm kind of thinking about looking into DSLRs now, just because I have so many issues with the software on my camera to get the stream to work. If I could just, because I just sometimes randomly do a random search for DSLR on eBay, and I was able to find this Nikon, or however you pronounce it, D3300. It's an older camera. It's from 2014, but it actually seems like a really nice camera. And they were
Isn't that like a flat Earth camera, or am I stupid?
I don't think so.
No, that's the P1000 or whatever they call it. Like, don't you know the flat Earth movement? They have like a preferred camera that they use because it captures the truth.
It captures the truth.
Yeah.
So Enigma hasn't had breakfast since 2015. But you never wake up early. Now, what do you consider breakfast? Like, if you wake up at 4 p.m., do you do p.m. a.m. or do you do like 2200? What do you do in Germany?
We do 2200 and 24 basically. This system. I find it much less confusing, honestly. But I can also talk in p.m. and a.m.
Okay, so if you
honestly, like, for me, it's like even when I wake up super late, I almost never eat right after I woke up, because I don't know, I just can't. I don't know, I always like brush my teeth, and then I just wait like a couple hours and then I eat. I don't know why I'm like that. I was always like that. I would never like to eat like.
So would you consider that meal that you have, like, even if it's hours after you've woken up, would you consider it breakfast then? Because it's breaking your fast? Because that's how breakfast gets its name.
You just blew my mind. to be quite frank, you just blew my mind.
Really? Yeah, you did. About it. And like dinner,
fuck that. I never thought about it. So yeah, I guess it's still breakfast, but you know, traditionally you just kind of eat breakfast after you wake up. I was actually about to ask you, like, where does it get its name from? But I guess you just answered that.
My mom always tells me that, like, oh yeah, it's breaking your fast, break fast. It's a pretty cool name.
Going to sleep at 6.
6, like 6 a.m. or p.m.
Not me. Savage Enigma just wrote that.
Let's see. I go to sleep at 6 and wake up around 2 p.m. Eat around.
That's hardcore. That's a hardcore gamer move, man. Going to sleep at 6. I used to do that like in vacation when I wasn't in school.
The latest I've ever gone to sleep, I think, was 5 a.m. or like 5, like hour 5. Or I don't get military time. Sometimes I get it. It's like sometimes I can think, oh, if you subtract 2 hours from this and then add 10.
It's actually simpler than AM and PM. It's the same.
It is, because it's like
it's the same time until.
It's like 23.
Now I'm confused. So like six is whatever. I thought about a way to explain it, but I don't know actually.
But never mind. 2300 is obviously going to be an hour before the next day starts, because it's 24 hours.
23 is 11. 23 is 11, and and we actually we don't say 24, we say 0 in Germany. I don't know if you say that in any other countries, but I don't know why we just do that. Like because first it goes like.
So it's
to like 23 and then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. Okay, so like you don't have a 24th hour then?
We do, but we call it 0.
Okay. So like 12 would
makes
be
no
0.
Sense.
Okay.
Yes, 12 would be 0.
And then if it's like 12 in the afternoon, then you just call it 12, right? And then you go like 11, 12, 13, 14.
Exactly. 12 and then it goes 13, 14. Yeah, right.
That makes sense.
So it's pretty much the same until 12, and then you just keep counting. While in the American system it changes to PM.
That makes perfect sense. Better take this.
And I always found that like less confusing, but whatever.
American.
Plus, if you like join the military or something, they use it, and it I don't know why I would mention that, but
they should switch to that system, like the metric system also. But it gets confusing when you have to know like American units and then the units of every single other place in the entire world.
Dude, ask me about that, honestly. So I'm not a pilot. I gotta disclose that, but I have a certificate of airmanship with the German Aircraft Authority or whatever it's called, and I used to be like very involved in my flight club, and I used to do pilot training, and a big part of that is knowing how to convert metric to imperial, and actually like understanding feet and stuff like that, and it's fucking. It broke my head. It broke my head because meters are so much bigger. Like on my first landing that I did, obviously it was supervised. I never actually flew on my own. But on my first landing that I did, it was a Cessna 172 with extended gear because we have like a quite like rocky terrain. So it has like bigger tires on it, and when you land, they like your co-pilot, sometimes they call out like how far you're above the ground, but they don't say feet or meters. So in advance they explained to me that they always talk in feet because it's just like they just do it because of FAA regulations. And so he said like 10 and 10 meters and 10 feet, the difference is quite big. I was like, oh, so I have some space because I was looking at my instruments, and all of a sudden I feel like a big thump, and I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, I screwed up my first landing pretty hard. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Boy. We had to learn that in like 5th grade. Like we had timed worksheets to change between like the imperial system and the metric system. And you have to multiply by like 2.54 or something. It's some random number. It doesn't make any sense. Between Fahrenheit and Celsius, it's like you have to multiply by like 1.23 or something. It's ridiculous.
By the way, I think we should ban Selfish Enigma for saying that I did 9/11 because that's obviously not true.
Obviously not true.
He knows too much. We need to ban him right now.
He knows way too much. Boy. I'd like to ask him more about that thing that he was talking about on Discord with the kid that was like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna."
Fuck you bitch! I swear to God. Sorry, no, Selfish just like he just fucking banned me for a second, but it's okay.
You can't tell the moderator that you're gonna ban him because the moderator's gonna ban you before you can ban him.
It's fine.
So he was telling us
whatever, talked, sorry.
He was telling us that apparently he got some PlayStation Network account of some kid, and then the kid was super mad at him, so he was like, "Oh, I'm going to report you to the police, and I'm going to dox you and get your IP number," and he's like, "Dude, I've already done that, and like everything else, because he knows how to dox people." It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But that kid was pretty mad at him. Like on his Twitter bio, he was like, "Oh my gosh, Selfish Enigma has my account, and blah 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 blah, blah 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 blah." So that's a good lesson. You don't mess with Selfish Enigma, do you?
Apparently not.
Or he's gonna send you a virus that's gonna break your computer. Like I don't know what you're supposed to do with those viruses. Like, what happens if you did accidentally click that on Discord? Remember that? What happens if you
exactly? And I'm the type of fucking dumbass to do that.
Just like at like 3 a.m. you're like, "Ooh, what's this?"
I just see something like a new notification and I click it. Like just like I'm AFK. My brain is AFK while I'm playing something, so I just like. Click it and I'm fucked. So
all your files are gone. They're just like
yeah, right. It's like a reflex, and it's really dangerous for me.
I guess
especially because back in like when did I build my? I think it was in 2015. I finished my build. Like I built my computer myself, and it took me fucking ages. Like it's probably worth like around 3,000 euros, and I saved it up for myself. So. It's kind of my baby. My computer. It took me 2 years to build it.
You would have, what Enigma is saying though, is you would have been fine because it was in a zip file, so you'd have to extract the zip file.
Yeah, correct.
So it's a good thing that he added that layer of protection in for the Discord server, but if he actually wanted to attack someone, he definitely would not have it in a zip file, would you?
You can't. He's just very dodgy. You can't trust Enigma. He's a very dodgy person.
But for some reason, I do trust him. Like, I just have this. I feel like he has the better not the better sense. I think that he has the, I can't think of the word, like, he cares about the channel. He wants the channel to succeed. I feel that about him. I don't know why. I don't know what he did to make me feel that, but I feel that.
I'm pretty sure he's part of Russian intelligence or something.
He's gathering like a dossier on all of us, and he's gonna report us to the Russian government.
He's infiltrating you. He knows.
No, it isn't that. It's something else. You're trustworthy in a weird way. I don't know why.
I know.
I can't explain. But I guess more on the viruses. I installed Windows XP on an old computer, and I tried using it. I tried using it for a week, and I don't even think I got a virus. I probably did, honestly, but I don't think I did, because it just got really slow. Like, I got Service Pack 3 and then I installed like 160 updates. I don't know how it was getting updates because it's been out of date for like 5 years.
Yeah.
But it installed all these updates and then it just got so unbearably slow that I couldn't even do anything. Like,
are you exaggerating, or has it actually been 5 years since XP went out of? No way, holy.
April 2014.
Man, that didn't feel long ago at all. That was weird.
I remember I was in 5th grade and I was lamenting over it. I was like, no, Windows XP.
Yeah, me too. I don't know where I was at that time, but I remember I was like, damn, XP was... I had an XP computer when I was a kid, so it's like...
It was 8th of April. It's the 8th of April of 2000. I think so. Okay, so
you see, you just skipped over a message there that says, I haven't heard you yet, and I want to emphasize the yet. Just saying.
I just said that I trust you, and now you're gonna try and break the trust, aren't you, man? Aren't you? Jeez, Enigma. But I always thought that, Windows XP is so cool, but after doing that experiment, I'm just like, yeah, it's just old. There's no use for it anymore. If you're still on Windows XP, or even if you're still on Windows 7, like, just upgrade to Windows 10. I know that it takes all your data, but just upgrade to Windows 10. It's so much better. It's so much easier to use.
Yeah. It's not free anymore, is it?
It isn't. Like, I think that if you have, accessibility options or something enabled, it is free. And if you use, like, a Windows 7 product key, you can install Windows 10. It's weird. Like, they don't say, you can upgrade for free, but I think you can probably get it for free. I'm not sure.
There was like a period of like 1 year where you can upgrade for free, but they ended that. Now you need to pay, but I forgot. And anyway, like, all my PCs are running Windows 10, so I don't care.
I was an early adopter of Windows 10. Like, the day that it launched, I installed it on my computer. Because for some reason I was just really tired of Windows 7. I was like, just get this off of my computer. Because I tried out Windows 8, but then it was weird because my parents bought a computer, like a HP computer, and it was really slow. And I installed Windows 8 on that, and I kind of liked it, I kind of didn't. But then I built another computer, which was really fast, but we only had the Windows 7 license, so I was forced to use Windows 7. And for some reason, like, 10-year-old me really wanted Windows 8, so I was kind of mad about that. And then once the Windows 10 preview came out, I dual booted that with Windows 7, but it was just extremely unreliable. Like, didn't work at all because it was before Windows 10 had even released. So, but I really enjoyed using it. So once Windows 10 launched, it's like Windows 95 launched for me. Like, I was playing the Start Me Up song and everything, like,
Yeah.
Damn. I have fun.
You know, I was running Windows 8.2 for like solid half a year before I upgraded. I have a feeling someone's on my door, like,
at your door.
But I'm not sure.
Well, you better check that.
I don't know. Like, the thing is, like, my apartment building is fucking weird. Everyone here is so weird. I don't even know, man. It's so weird here. Like, like last time you streamed, right? Like, this is so, so random. They had a party, and one guy came down, to my apartment, and we just jammed. It was so weird. It was so fucking. I'm so confused. I don't know that guy. I have nothing to do with him. And now, I thought I heard my doorbell a second ago, but
no, it was Enigma. That's right. Like I saw Enigma's message. I'm at your door, and I looked at my door, and I was like, I just looked over there, like, is he at my door?
Like,
for a split second, I thought he was there, and I was like,
you gotta be careful with that.
You gotta be careful. You gotta be. So talking about that camera again, I'm really thinking about upgrading, and I found a lens for like $35, and they're offering the camera used for under $200, which I think for a DSLR is a really good deal. And it's also, it'll take great pictures. It doesn't just take great video. It only goes up to 1080 60 frames per second, but like this stream right here is only like 720p, the video coming out of the camera. It should be able to do 1080p 60 frames per second, but it just doesn't. And for a while there it did do it, but then it just was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that anymore. 1080 60 is too much for me. Just ticks me off. And
what lens are you thinking about? Like, if we're talking still about the 3300.
Well, I'd have to. It's the Tamron 572D AF. Oh, it was sold. Oh no, now it's $28. Awesome. Oh no, hold on. Oh man, because I've been waiting to get paid for the drop that I'm doing.
What are you working?
It's
what are you doing?
the New Scholar Academy at my school. So it's like having these new scholars know how to log onto the computers and stuff. It's kind of hard to teach them, just because.
Wow.
They just.
Yeah, you need some authority, man.
First of all, they don't really respect me because I'm just a kid, and then.
I almost get you a little bit. I was working as a teacher for refugees for half a year. And I mean, while I appreciated them a lot, like there were some nice people over there, and the majority of them were really nice and friendly and just gave me a very different insight on refugees and shit. And some of them, like just like 5 or 6, were so disrespectful, dude.
It's like, why would you be disrespectful? I'm helping you. Just
because they studied like, you know, you realize the refugees that are coming to Europe from like Syria are like pretty rich because only they had got to afford like the ship. I'm gonna call it shipping. Only they got to afford like, you know, the illegal shit. So they come here, and there was a guy that had like an advanced engineering degree, and he had to listen to me like tell him something about my like. Yeah, he had to listen to me teach him something, and I get that's you know, that's very frustrating probably, and I totally get that.
I see.
Honestly,
but the problem also is that they don't understand the technology. So I go in with like all these computers and logging into accounts, and they just don't know how to do it. They don't know how to touch type. They just. For a lot of people, not a lot of people, but for some people, I think that computers intimidate them. Like, it's like that.
Dude, the link you sent me, the listing has ended, so you're too late.
Okay. I know. Wait, does it tell you the name of the camera at all? Because that's all that I really wanted you to see. But I'm mad that this ended.
Yeah, I guess like the 572D 300mm, that shit, like the Tamron. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the brother of my sister, which sounds really weird, I know, but basically the brother of my sister has, he's like a professional photographer.
I see.
So he's like kitted out, and he has like a camera for like 4,000 euros or something like that. It's like insane.
Like Linus. So have you ever watched Linus Tech Tips?
Yeah, Linus Tech Tips. Yeah, but he's a bit of a cunt, honestly. Like, he's so annoying. His voice annoys me.
I know. Like, I've gotten used to it. Because I've watched so much of it, I've gotten used to his voice, but I really like it when that other guy, the bigger guy, goes and does the computer builds and stuff. Like, his voice is really soothing. Yeah. But Linus's voice is like, But he has, like, these $50,000 red cameras, and he was going through the bill, and he was like, $1,000 for this adapter and $200 for this cable, and it's like, man, Red is like Apple, aren't they? They just gouge you because they know their market is Hollywood, and Hollywood's gonna pay.
But but they have some insane quality shit though. Like seriously,
it's high quality.
Was it Red? Was it Red that offered that like macro lens, that crazy like microscope macro lens?
Oh, I've seen that. I have no idea.
I've seen a few videos of that.
But I think that.
I think it's Red though, isn't it?
I'm not sure, but it's a really cool lens. Like
it's really cool. Yeah.
I saw where it was like they shot the lens, even though they didn't actually shoot the lens. That was a really cool shot. And when you go into like a brush and you can see all the little fibers. No, fibers.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But
you can do some interesting things with that.
Mm-hmm. All that I really want out of my lens is just to be a lens, so that it isn't an exposed sensor. Because it was like 165 for just the camera body. And of course the charger and the battery. So like if they didn't give me a charger, I'd be really angry. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this camera without a charger or a battery? I can't record with it. Jeez. But I just want to be able to zoom in on things really easily, and I'm interested in manual focus because I hate autofocus. Like it never works.
Yeah. It barely works ever.
And also for school, like if I become a historian again, like a club historian. Because I was the class historian 2 years ago for my freshman class, my 9th grade. I don't know if that even translates out. Like, how does high school work? Were you in Germany? How does that work?
Wait, which year? What was that?
My first year of high school, my freshman year.
Is that like 10th grade, I guess? Maybe?
9th grade.
9th grade. 9th grade. Yeah, it works differently in Germany. Just keep going. Whatever.
Okay. But I was my class historian, and I hated it because the sponsor of the class, the person that led everything, always sent out his messages for like, oh, it's time for a meeting on the phone. It's an app called Remind 101 or Remind, and he sent out every single thing on Remind, like the day of, like an hour before he wanted us to meet. He sent it out on Remind, and I didn't have my phone on because it was the school day and they don't want you to have your phone on. So between passing periods, it would just be too hard to turn my phone on and then turn it off. Like every single passing period of every single day, it would just be extremely inconvenient. So when he didn't send out the messages when we were at home, so we could see them and get ready for the meeting, I always missed them. So, you know, my mom works at the same school, and apparently I missed 2, and he called her up and was like, oh, your son has missed 2 meetings, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, because you don't effing tell him that there's meetings, you don't give him the proper notice. And that same teacher literally left this year, like in the middle of the year he just left.
Yeah, makes sense. Like, what if you don't have any mobile data, right?
I know, it's ridiculous. And it wasn't like it was a stipulation that, they didn't warn us that they're only going to send out messages on Remind. They didn't warn us before we campaigned to become a class officer. So I said, I'm never going to do a class officer again, but now that he's gone, I think I'm going to do it. Because and kids didn't like that teacher either, so I'm normally not happy when teachers leave, but I'm really happy that he left. Like, he was just a really, really mean teacher. And I know this isn't relevant at all, but he's like someone from, have you ever seen My 600-Pound Life?
Is that unusual in America though?
No, it's not. There's a lot of large people in America. It's way too much.
I noticed.
And I don't even think it's like McDonald's and stuff. I think it's also just the quality of food that we have. I think that we just have poor quality.
I mean, it has something to do with pricing as well, 100%, because when my ex went to the US, she went to like a store and like a tiny little salad cost like $7, and like a family-sized chips pack costs like $1 or something. It's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Like obviously people are gonna choose like the unhealthier
choice. Like if you want to get organic grass-fed beef, it's gonna cost you like $3, $4, $5 a pound more than just the crap beef. And if you want like I don't know, like frozen food from the freezer section, which is obviously very bad for you. First of all, it's convenient. Second of all, it's cheap. Like, I can get some bad frozen dinner for $1, and it's still a lot of food. It's still like 300, 400, 500 calories.
But and when you combine that with the fact that everyone in the US literally owns a car and everyone just drives with their car everywhere, you know, you could see how someone could easily like become morbidly obese, right? Because like for me, I don't own a car, and I don't see I don't know why I would own a car, because I can get everywhere by public transport, because our infrastructure is actually decent. I'm not gonna say it's amazing, because we definitely have some issues as well, but especially it's overpriced, I think. But at least it's there, so like, I don't see any significant train lines in the US that you can, you know, take. Like, you don't think about going from your city to another one by train or something, you know.
It's always by car. And like here we have a bus system, but it's like no one takes the bus. Like, everyone has a car. But in like New York City or something like that, I don't think that hardly anyone owns a vehicle, just because you don't drive through downtown New York because it's so full of people and it's so full of like taxis and stuff. You just don't see that. So it really depends on where you live. But even fast food is extremely expensive. Like, what used to be on the dollar menu at McDonald's is now on the $3 menu. Like, even 5 years ago. And I think that's just inflation, to be honest with you. I think it's just supply and demand, basic economics. But stuff has really gotten expensive.
Please never talk about economics in my presence, because I took that shit for 3 years and I hate it. It's so dry, it's boring, it's disgusting. I have an entire like massive like folder of economics papers, and tomorrow I'm planning on burning them because like now I'm going on a massive like break from uni, and I'm gonna work as a gardener for now.
A gardener?
And yeah, by the way, this is probably gonna interest you and your mom if she was here, but I'm actually gonna pursue a Master of Education, and I'm gonna see if I can become a teacher.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think that
but not now.
I think you'd like that. Like, teaching is, like, for me at least, it's a lot more than you think, because you really have to try and connect with the kids. And I sometimes have problems with that. Like,
fuck those little shits.
Well, okay, maybe you should teach like high school students or college students.
Yeah, that's my plan.
Actually, maybe
no, I'm okay with little kids.
Maybe it would actually be easier with little kids, because you don't really have to connect with them. But with high school kids, they just don't care. They just don't want to be there. They don't think that it's important enough. And what I'm telling all these incoming freshmen, all these incoming first year of high school, whatever you call them in Germany, kids, is that you need to keep your GPA, you need to keep your grade point average up, because it's gonna bite you in the butt your sophomore, junior, and senior year. It's always going to come back if you slack off, and a lot of kids slack off that first year of high school. They're like, I gotta go and find a boyfriend or girlfriend, relationship, I gotta be popular. It's like, what's really important your first year is grades, because those are your easiest classes. Those, like, because the year after that determines whether or not you can do this dual enrollment with the local university. And if you have a 90 GPA, then you can qualify, but if you don't, then you don't qualify. But what determines your GPA isn't just the current year, it's also the year prior. So if you slack off the year prior, you're never going to have the GPA that you need.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that system. It's almost similar to that, and I don't like that system. I'm not gonna lie. 'Cause, you know, like sometimes you slack, sometimes something bad happens in your life, and you can't keep up or whatever, and then it just fucks you up.
But for me, it's really nice, because my first year, the teachers were allowed to give extra credit, so I had like 2 or 3 grades that were above 100, and that really helped the grades that were like way below 100. So my GPA was better the first year than it was the second year, just because of that extra credit. But now the school has completely banned grades over 100, so I can't have that extra boost anymore. So I'm really happy that the GPA is rolling. Like, I was surprised that my GPA was so high. Okay, let's see. We have a new person. that said, call in Discord. They posted the sexual message. Rigid as prime plank, I am boarding upon something. What the heck did he say? I can't read. Oh boy. So now he wants to join Discord.
We can like either add him to this or I can come to the server. Like, I don't mind.
Well, I've never seen him in chat before. Scurvy, that's...
Or whatever. Just you tell me.
Why don't you introduce yourself first? And, yeah, why don't you introduce yourself before we talk to you on Discord, just because, you know, we can't just invite every single random person from the internet to talk with us, because that's opening... Well, thank you for the follow. Here for Talk Show. Well, hello there. Well, could you introduce yourself first? Okay, so now you're in tech... Look at this, he's in the tech support thing on Discord. And he's ready to go. I don't know if I should...
I'll join the Discord back.
Well, why don't... If you could join and see if he's a good person or not, then sure. But I'm just kind of scared because I don't want him to say some bad word and then get us banned off the Twitch.
A bad word. But you know, if he's not gonna like say a bad word if I'm there, and then when you come, he's gonna say the bad... Do you think Twitch is moderating you? Do you really think Twitch is moderating?
Well, probably not, because I only have like one viewer.
Like I don't think so. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot.
Well, this is a coincidence. On Twitter, the trend is N-word. Apparently, there's 49 tweets of N-word. Don't know. I know what it means. That's just kind of a coincidence. But Scurvy, could you just introduce yourself so we can get to know you before we talk to you? Because it's not that I don't trust you. It's just that I'm
a fan of this man. I'm a fan of this man already.
I know.
I like his picture. I like his name.
He has some very good roleplay that I'm gonna read. He said, rigid as a pine plank, I am boarding upon thy ship, scallywank.
It makes me wonder.
Is he a pirate? What the fuck? He could be a pirate, right?
Scurvy. How does scurvy on testicles work? Is that a thing?
A what?
Scurvy on because nuts. Scurvy nuts. Scurvy on your nuts. Is that a thing?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that's.
So I think this man has some insight on this.
Okay.
Whatever. I was about to say something, but I forgot what it was. God damn it. Yeah. Well, anyways, I'll be. Yeah, actually, we were on the topic of education. And like in Germany, it works a little bit different than in the US, and I can explain to you. Like we finish high school earlier. We don't do 12 years of high school. We do 10 years. It's a bit similar to the British system, and after that you can do like a kind of personalized education, which you can go either to like job school. One second, I'm gonna turn you down a little bit because your fucking keyboard is raping me. Okay. Okay. So you can do like something called job school, which is like going to a school to learn like for a job that you're gonna do, and then you can do like a training for a specific job. So it's kind of like a hands-on education thing where you learn like whatever, woodworking or something. Or you can go to, I'm gonna call it college, but it's not called college. It's like A levels, and you can like get a little specified in whatever you want there. Like I did economics as well in my A levels, and yeah, and then afterwards I made the big mistake of studying that for 2 years. So never, honestly, my tech never touch economics. Okay. Even if you like math, seriously, it's so boring. It's really boring. It's like I was really interested in this. I was really interested in it after my A levels. Like I was so interested in it, but they destroyed me. And like especially because it's mandatory to take accountancy with economics. So accountancy is about. I actually fell asleep in the hall multiple times.
Oh, gee. That's kind of like my mom. Whenever I go over physics with her, because I like to teach her the things that I'm learning, so I learn them even more. So whenever I go over physics, like within 5 minutes, she's asleep. It doesn't matter if she was wide awake, if she was watching a TV show, whatever. Like within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think the problem with kids, at least in America, is that they expect that their grade is going to be given to them. So my mom was telling the story of this kid that was always absent, and she did this thing for IB. Are you familiar with IB at all? Like, I bet that we've talked about it before.
Yeah, but you're cutting out a little bit. Like, can you? Okay, well, yeah, I think you reduced your like sensibility of the mic, right?
It's actually on my iPad, so it might be an internet problem. Do I sound any better at all right now on the iPad?
Yeah, it's fine. You know what? I'll live with it. I'll live with it. So you're talking about IB?
Yes.
I've definitely heard about it before. From a friend that lives in Texas, but whatever, just tell me about
it. You have 2 years to complete this project, and like the last minute, she's always absent, and the last minute she was like, to her teacher, she was like, well, I was absent, I couldn't complete it, and the teacher gave her a 50 for the project because it just wasn't done, and she had time beforehand, but she always used this absence as an excuse, and when the teacher gave her a 50, the teacher literally had to go into a conference with her parents and with administrators, and they're like, well, why are you giving this girl a 50? They said to the teacher, what can you do to make sure that she passes? And she said, the kid didn't do her part, so why should I allow her to pass?
I heard that a lot. I heard that so much from US teachers. Like, I don't personally know one, but I do you know Quora? Maybe, like, it's a platform for people to ask and answer questions, and there's this English teacher on there, and he's always complaining about this exact issue. Like they want you as a teacher to make the student pass, right? So even if they don't do jack shit, they still like expect you to make her pass, even though, you know, she doesn't really earn it anymore. I understand definitely. That's a problem, I guess.
And it's especially with English, like, it's based on the writing. So the teacher, they might say, well, why did you give the essay a 50? Why wasn't it a 70? Or why wasn't it 100? And the teacher can say, I just didn't think it was 100. It just didn't meet my expectation. But you can always argue, well, somebody else might have said, oh, it is 100. So it's kind of messed up in that regard. Like, they can always put it back on the teacher. But the thing is that administrators and colleges even, they just... Why did Selfish Enigma ban PewDiePie? Why is PewDiePie banned from the server? What did Felix do? Like, as if he's gonna come to this channel and watch this. The biggest YouTuber ever. He's gonna watch my channel, seriously.
Well, you know, now he's banned. It's a message.
So he's never gonna be watched, ever. Alright, but going back on what I said, I think that superiors, like counselors, tend to blame the teacher. They don't blame the student. Because what's easier is to say, give them a 70. Just give them a 70. And like at my school, even if you fail a class, you still have this contract that can be offered to you after you fail, so you can still get the credit. Like, it isn't always just, oh geez, there's a clone of me. Mind Tex. That's ridiculous. Yeah, thank you for banning him. Like, come on. But, let's see, what was I saying? I completely forgot what I was saying. But, like, instead of having the kid retake the class, they can still do this contract and they can still easily pass. Why did he say swear? I'm not gonna swear because this is a family-friendly show. And I kind of question myself sometimes when I say that it's family-friendly. Because I'm kind of like, is it family-friendly anymore? I don't know.
The thing is, like, is there any purpose to it being family-friendly? Like, is there any family here watching this? Is there any, like, young kids here? I don't think that...
Oh, now Nicholas saying, well, Casper swore,
yeah,
so I can
I swear all the time. I swear to God, I swear all the time. I can't stop. It's a big problem.
I don't swear. I don't swear. Even if nobody is around, I don't swear. I might say freaking or frick or something like that, but I just don't say the actual word.
I don't know. It's not really discouraged where I live, and it's like, it's not a big deal, honestly. And I think demonizing words is always a bad idea. Because your kid's gonna go to school and learn those words and then abuse them, right? Like, I think when I was younger, my mom just told me the words and told me what they meant. And, I didn't actually use them. I just started, like, I picked it up, like, 2 years ago, when I speak English, I swear a lot. When I speak German, I don't actually. But
once you took that economics class, you learned all.
Yeah, honestly, and because German swear words, they just don't sound as good. Like English swear words sound like really nice, but German swear words are just like disgusting. They sound disgusting.
I see.
And they sound loud and aggressive.
I see. And I guess that for some people, like, if you'd say the F word to someone, like, some people find that really offensive. Like, especially older people.
I don't know any people that find that offensive. And anyone who does find it offensive can fuck off. Like, grow up, honestly. Like seriously.
I honestly find it funny, like, when someone starts swearing. I always think it's hilarious.
I consider myself left, and I laugh at the people that consider swearing offensive because it's ridiculous. It's just words, for fuck's sake.
But I still see, though, that some people are offended, so I just don't say them so that I might potentially avoid offending them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. I mean, honestly, though, how much sense does that make? I mean, if it doesn't limit you, who cares, right? Like, you're a person, you don't use it anyways, so who gives a shit? But...
Yes. But when you use it all the time, trying to censor yourself is kind of tough. And it's kind of... Like with YouTube, I don't know if you've ever watched like the people that rage on YouTube before. They always get demonetized because they swear, but it's part of the act. It's part of the video.
It's a big problem. Yeah. In my opinion, that's actually censorship. I don't think that's. Yeah, I don't think that's legal. And
you can always say, well, you know, YouTube is a private platform, blah 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 blah. But it's just you're taking away their money. It's like they're having a job and there's these rules put in front of them, but there aren't any rules put in front of them, and it's not a job. They aren't hired by YouTube. Like the adpocalypse and the whole climate on YouTube is just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and the whole adpocalypse thing is like built on lies as well.
And
like
it's built on either disgusting things or stupid things. Like I think the last one was like this pedophile or something. I can't remember. But it was pretty disgusting. And then this most recent one is like between some right-wing news source and then literally just one person of Vox Media. And it's like, how can that create an entire adpocalypse that hurts everyone and destroys careers, destroys families? Because a lot of these people have become YouTubers, and like I would never put all my eggs in one basket. I'd never say, oh, I'm going to make my career being a YouTuber. That's like investing in Bitcoin. That's like always trading stock market. Of course you can do it. Of course you can be a stockbroker, whatever they call it, but it's just really unreliable. And why are we talking about economics again?
Yeah, let me tell you about like stock and forex, like foreign exchange and shit. It's really unreliable. It's good that you know this, and it's actually really dangerous. Like for a project, I actually went into the market and I tried out, and I actually didn't spend any of my own money, but I actually gained a little bit because they teach you at university. They teach you a little bit, but still, like, it's dangerous and it's mostly random. I'm not gonna lie. Like people try and put like patterns to things, you know, but it's mostly random. And when people lose their money, they lose a lot. You know, they tend to use a lot. I mean, not stock. When you invest in a company and you buy stocks, I mean that's actually safer than going into like a currency market, right? Like foreign exchange or euro exchange or Bitcoin, or like crypto stuff. I never touched crypto. Fuck that. We never even went through that. We never even went through crypto, like in 2 years, 1.5 years of pain and suffering.
And that, somehow I got to talking about cryptocurrency with that person that claimed that he had 5,000 supercomputers, and he was talking about like Bitcoin mines, and I was like, if you try to mine Bitcoin with your GPU and your computer, you're literally gonna waste so much energy and waste such a GPU. You're gonna make like a cent, honestly. It's so saturated with like these Chinese Bitcoin mines that are huge. They're like farms just full of Bitcoin miners, like the ASICs, which can really do the calculations fast specifically for Bitcoin mining, that there's just no reason. to invest in it.
You know what he should do? You know what he should do? Like the guy with the 5,000 supercomputers. He should host Minecraft servers. there's some demand for that.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
People are paying lots for that.
Mm-hmm. But
and Minecraft eats RAM.
Oh yeah, sorry. just
Yeah.
have like a Chrome farm, so you can download RAM from him to run Chrome, because Chrome eats up so much RAM. I don't know, because I got to talking about like the Mac Pro with him also. I don't know why I was talking with him so much. So I was like, who needs 1.5 terabytes of RAM? And he's like, I do. And I was like, what are you gonna do with 1.5 terabytes of RAM?
1.5 terabytes of RAM. Jesus fucking Christ!
I know,
Oh my god.
Like, no.
How are you gonna? By the way, like, I get what you're saying with the swearing thing. Like, I'm just so used to it with English. Like, I honestly just use swearing in English that much. But I can tone it down probably, because if I'm gonna become an English teacher, I should probably not say fuck every 2 seconds.
Exactly. But like, I'm used to it. Like, I don't mind it. I don't get offended by that at all. Like, I hear
no one minds it that I know.
I hear so many people that just swear all the time. Like, every third word out of their mouth is either the F word or SHIT or whatever. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
but by the way, when we're talking about like Chrome using a lot of RAM, have you ever seen Firefox? I'm using Firefox, and I have 16 gigs of DDR4. Okay, so I know it's not a lot for fucking selfish who's like super rich and shit, but for me, it's enough, right?
That's the same amount that I have.
And I kid you not, I'm gonna check right now on Task Manager how much Firefox, I have 2 tabs open. It's using 1.4 gigs. It's incredible. I have 2 tabs open.
That's really weird, because I have like 3 tabs open on Chrome, and then I have the chat open on Chrome also, and it's only consuming about half a gig of RAM, 500 megs.
It's really weird. It's really weird. I don't know, like, Firefox is really bad with RAM usage. And I don't know why I'm using it. I just got so used to it. Should probably, and plus, like, it's a little more private than Chrome, right? Like, you don't want Google in. Oh, have you heard of what's it called? The new like gaming platform?
Stadia.
Yeah, Stadia. Whoa. I mean, that's weird. That's like almost dystopian. I mean, let Google into every aspect of your life, and just trust them. Just trust them completely. That's what they're basically telling you.
Now Google controls your gaming. It controls what you watch. You have a speaker in your home. Hey Google, how are you?
Yeah, they use everything. It's incredible. Like tell someone 10 years ago that you're gonna have like some personal assistant that you're gonna talk to, and you're gonna address it with a company name. Yeah, exactly what fuck you, Google.
How are you, Nasal Bum 2000? I don't think I pronounced that correctly. How are you doing? We're doing a call-in right now, and we're actually.
Oh, is that guy German? That guy might be German. That's a very German-sounding name.
Are you German? Because if you are, then you have something in common with Casper.
Hell yeah.
Who's co-hosting the show right now. Let's see. We're waiting for him to respond.
Whatever.
I don't think he's going to respond. But what I don't like... What did he say? What did the ninja say?
He said, I'm guessing he meant to say son of a bitch. And it kind of works, but it's really dumb because it literally translates to female dog. And it's like son of a female dog. And I know that bitch and female dog like means the same, but it's like in German we don't use that way. But whatever, it works. It's funny.
So there it is. So if that guy was German, he's like, you just called me a female dog. What the heck? Why are you doing this to me? But obviously he also speaks English. So, Marcel, that is not what we mean, okay? We do not mean that. We welcome you into this community. We hope that you find a nice place to... What did he say now?
He said asshole.
You can't control Enigma, can you? Like, once he gets that keyboard, it's just like...
I'm telling you, swearing on German is really weird sounding, and but it's oddly addictive as well. Like, there's something good to saying Arschloch! Something like that. It's something really good to saying that.
I know, it relieves the stress. That's why you swear.
Yeah.
Like in English, it's just like a regular word in your vocabulary, but in German, it's like ah! It's like screaming, but you're cussing. It's awesome. And I know, like, I have to take a Spanish class, and randomly we just oh jeez.
That's good. That's good. It's selfish, yo. So.
Hold on, I'm gonna search it on Google Translate. Oh, it just showed me German insults. That's what it just found. All right, let's hold on. Go to Google Translate, and then click on. Blah, 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 blah. I want Google Translate to say it. Let's see. Copy and enter text. F-U. Oh. Yeah, that's quite an insult right there. Hold on,
what does Google what does Google say? Like, what does it say this? Because it means like fuck off, wanker, ass face, basically.
Wichser Arschgesicht. Wichser Arschgesicht.
The Google lady sounds mad.
I know, but she still could just kind of calm. I think I can guess what that one means, but I'm gonna look it up.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure
don't translate that one. Don't translate that one.
I shouldn't.
Mind.
You
shouldn't.
People be like, what's wrong with this kid? What is he saying? Because, you know, the Google knows everything about our lives. Like,
if one of your parents like secretly speak German, they're gonna be really disappointed now.
I know, they're gonna look through the history and be like, if you saw my facial expression, it says everything. But you know, it's really creepy looking through Google and seeing all the things that they keep, like, from the Google Home, and then when it randomly triggers off, and you can see, like, the random things, it's also really creepy. And sometimes, like, it just started saying, like, it started playing, like, See Emily Play or something. It just randomly said, oh, I'm gonna play See Emily Play without even being triggered by anything.
That's weird. And you know, I actually have like 2 really tech-related topics that just come to mind right now, and it's actually really fitting for the stream because it's like tech rant, right, or whatever you call it. And so basically, like this Google thing. Do you know a YouTuber called Louis Rossmann?
Yes.
Okay, so you've probably I'm a long-time viewer of him. I really like him. And he's done like a rant on how basically if you have Google on your phone, right, which basically everyone does, like everyone has like the Google browser. I'm not sure if you actually need the Google Assistant or if it's just the browser. It's been a time since I watched that video. But basically, like by default, when you have that app open, Google by default records everything that you say and transcribes it. By default, Yeah, it's not like an option you have to switch on. It's an option you have to switch off. So by default, Google on your phone will record everything you say while the app is on, and it will actually save it and like transcribe it into like basically speech to text. So you can go back when you installed your Google app in like a certain setting. I don't remember where it was, but you can go back in the setting and you can see what you said like 6 years ago while the app is open.
And
I find that ridiculous. That's like such a breach of privacy, and I was like, what? When I found that out.
And also, it's a waste of processing power, it's a waste of data, but it's also like literally spying on you. It's like allowing a spy into your house. It's allowing a spy into your pocket. Why would you want
It's basically it's used like it's basically information they sell to companies. So like you're basically being listened to, and when you say something like, oh, I wish I had like some dog food right now, and then you go on Google and it's going to show you dog food. I've actually tried this out. It works, and it's pretty weird.
I saw a guy do that on a live stream also, and it really worked.
Yeah, I've seen that as well, yeah.
It's creepy. Like,
it's really creepy.
You gotta lock yourself down somewhat. But it's
here's the thing, like, how are you gonna avoid that? Like, what are you gonna use? Fucking Bing? Like, seriously.
You can use DuckDuckGo, I guess. Apparently that's the secure browser, DuckDuckGo. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I have heard of
DuckDuckGo. It's just everything. Like, if I'm not using Google, I just think it sucks. Like, I prefer Google over any browser. All right, I talked about. You get
in Germany we have like a kid version of Google, which is called like, what was it called, like fin.de, which is like for Germany, like Germany's like code, and it was like so fucking dumb. Like if you typed any swear word into it, I remember they used to like have this installed in middle school, so you couldn't like search any bad pictures. If you type like any bad word, even if it isn't bad, even if it's like scientific, like penis or something like that, it would limit you, and it would be like, no, you may not access this. Please call your parents right now.
It's like 9.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, that's so dumb. That's really dumb.
Like whenever you ask the Google Home, please, she gets really happy. Like if they say, hey Google, please turn off the studio lights.
Sure, turning the studio lights off.
Well, that didn't work at all. She was supposed to say, she's supposed to say it to it and then be like, oh, thank you for saying please. That's so nice.
You have your lights connected to Google. That's pretty cool.
Like, I love the whole smart home concept. Like, talking about all this privacy stuff, it's weird. I just love being able to have everything automated. Like, automatically in the morning, it turns on my lights, it turns off the fan. It can start the coffee maker or whatever. Just automatically, just at 5 a.m. or at 6 a.m. every single morning. It's awesome. Hey, Google.
Yeah.
Turn on the studio lights.
Sure.
Do you have it, like, connected via Wi-Fi? Like, how does this actually work, connecting a light to this? Like, I imagine like you put some kind of toggle Wi-Fi thing in the socket, and then you have light attached to that, I guess.
Exactly. I can actually.
Okay.
I might have. Oh, jeez, I'm messing up my camera. I do have it. This is the smart switch that I have, and it's all controlled on like the GeekBees app, like this right here. And you just plug in your light or whatever you want, like the fan. I have a fan and lights. I think that's all that I have plugged into here. And like even these are plugged in. Hey Google, turn off the office lamp.
You got it. Turning off the lights.
Dang it. That didn't work.
You got it. Turning off the office lamp.
That actually kind of sounded like Google. But hey Google, turn on the office lights.
Okay, turning on 2 lights.
But then I have to add in, like, it gets access to the GeekBees account on the Google Home app, and then I can kind of give it access so it can access that, if that makes any sense.
That's cool.
It is cool.
Yeah, no, it does. It does.
And then I can even have, like, if this then that, or IFFF or something. It's also automated.
You could probably, like, weaponize this somehow.
Probably. But even like whenever I get a Twitch follower, it has access to the GeekBees account also, so it'll turn on this lamp whenever someone follows on Twitch. But the problem with it, and that's also, if you've seen on my Discord server on my announcement, sometimes it'll say upload bot. That's all if this then that. So it says if the video is uploaded to YouTube, then post this to the Discord server. But the issue is that it takes like 20 minutes to work, which is a really bad response time. Like if someone follows
just do it manually on it. Just do it manually.
Yeah. Like I always do it manually because it just takes way too long. But
yeah, it makes
like if I wanted
sense.
an alert like to turn on the light when someone follows on Twitch, I don't want it 30 minutes after someone follows. Like I randomly have my lights on. It's annoying. But I also, even whenever I like a video on YouTube, I also have it add to a spreadsheet, so I have a spreadsheet of all my liked videos on Google Drive. There's some other random things that I've done. I always just think that automation is cool, but I like to be able to write my own automation, because like, trying to understand what Google wants you to do is confusing, but doing it yourself is really rewarding. So I think that's about it for tonight, really. I know that I had... It was a lot better than last week, because I don't know if you were here for the last stream, but we did, like, this activity for all the logins and everything, and the co-mentors or the co-teachers for NSA, I think, were really bored. So they didn't like it. They were like, oh yeah, all these kids are bored. They literally asked one kid who was clearly bored. They said, are you bored? And then she said, yes. And they're like, okay, we better stop doing this. Just like in the middle of the activity. And I was like, I spent a long time on this activity. It took me like 3 days to perfect what I wanted to do.
That hurts.
I know. It's really annoying. But I went back, revised it.
Fucking kids.
I know. And, like, even for this other activity, they said, would you like to play a game or would you like to do work? That's what they asked them. So, obviously, the kid's going to say, oh, I want to play a game. But it wasn't work. It was like this collage. They had to make this personal collage, and they were going to post it on the board. They had to cut out all these things from magazines. It's like, yes, it is technically work, but it's fun work. It isn't like, you must write an essay about your personal experiences here at this school. And it wasn't like that. So it just kind of ticked me off, but...
Yeah, obviously. Like, if you work for it, that's gay. Yeah, honestly.
But I've revised...
One more question. Have you heard about, like, this Nimsies stuff?
Nimsies? I haven't.
Probably Selfish has. So it's like a new social media platform that comes out of the Ukraine, and it's really dodgy, in my opinion. I haven't... Now, granted, I don't know a lot about it, but I know the concept of it. So basically, it's like social media, but they propose, like, an artificial, not real currency that's not like a cryptocurrency. It's called a NIM. So basically, every minute you're logged into this social media platform, you earn 1 NIM, and they distribute it freely among its users. And apparently, they claim, no, there's actually no market research done on this, and trust me, I've checked. There's no research, nothing at all on this, but they claim that, like, 1 NIM is worth something, and that you can, at a certain point, you can turn, like, an amount of NIMs into actual currency. So, like, a year of these NIMs is called, like, what is it called again? It's called something, but a year worth of time is worth like $50 or something like that. And I find this idea really weird, and I don't know if if you check out their website, it's like nimsies.com or something, but it looks really dystopian. It doesn't look trustworthy at all. And I've checked some, like, people that know more stuff about this than I do, and they say that the app is able to access your files and do everything with your private information, even after you've uninstalled it.
That's what I was guessing.
Yeah, they sell you information.
It's like a Trojan horse. That's exactly what it is.
It's really popular. I mean, Facebook does it as well, right? Like, they access all your shit as well.
Oh, yeah. If you have Facebook on your phone, you better get it off, like, right now.
Yeah. But what I heard is, like, even after the app is gone, like, you uninstall it, they still have, like, some files that stay in that, like, scan all your stuff and sell it. So I find it concerning that it's kind of being hyped up right now, and people are, you know, PewDiePie promoted it.
Oh, jeez.
So
it's a good thing he's banned from this channel then. Like, it's clearly a scam. Like,
yes, we don't want no PewDiePie here. We don't want no PewDiePie here. Well, okay. Wonderful.
But it's just, maybe if they'd give you an Amazon gift card, that's the only way that they'd be convertible to real currency. Like, if they'd give you something. But why would they just give free money away? And just, I don't see the profitability of that.
They're aiming, like, it's basically like an incentive for people to join and spend time, because it's not free money, because essentially you sell your data for that.
Oh, yes, of course.
You pay with your data, and it's not really worth anything. Like, no one has actually made any money with that as of yet. I'm not going to say it can't happen, but I'm going to say it's unlikely to happen, because I'm sorry, I'm going to break out the economist. Like, basically, for a currency to work, Bitcoin works like this as well, so I can explain how that works. It's basically, for a currency to work, there needs to be a limited amount of number of currency. But time kind of isn't limited. So when the more users you get on this website, and the more people are going to join in the future, and the more time people are going to take up, the more abundant this currency becomes, like these NIMs, right? And the less worth they actually get. Like, how it works with Bitcoin is that there's a certain set amount of combinations that you can do to get, like, a Bitcoin. I think it's at like 21 million or something like that. And above that, you can't go further. This makes Bitcoin scarce. Mm-hmm. And the problem with these NIMs is that they're basically worthless because they have no scarcity. Mm-hmm. So at a certain point, a NIM will be worth like 0.0000001 cent, and at that point, it doesn't even matter anymore, you know?
Exactly.
So, yeah, so basically what you're doing is you're giving your data away for free, like with Facebook. It's not a good idea to join this shit.
And that's the problem with, like, the United States right now, because we keep on printing currency and printing it and printing it. Like, I understand that you have to add more to the pot, but you keep on adding so much that it's devaluing the currency because it's less scarce. Because right now, the money that you have was someone else's. They gave that to you because you sold them something else. It works out right now, but the more you
the U.S. has a higher target inflation rate than Germany. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know that. All I know is
I hate economics. Okay, man.
But all I know is that you just can't keep on printing currency, and you just like the new economic plan, like the NEP back in the 1930s, that kind of brought everyone out of the depression. I don't understand how that works, but I know it did work. Like, get yourself into debt to get yourself out of debt. I guess it got the country in. Are you familiar with it at all? The new economic plan?
Sorry, again, what? I was listening, but that was kind of, it's like 1 a.m. So
the new economic plan from that got everyone out of the depression, like the Great Depression.
The Great Depression, yes.
How you, I guess, get your country into debt, like buy more, get more jobs.
You mean hardcore inflation?
I guess.
So jobs are basically like the carrier of all of this, right? Uh-huh. So you can control inflation in a number of ways, and there's different kinds of inflations. And so I would need to explain how how conjuncture works for that.
Okay.
But or it's called conjuncture in German. I don't know what it's called in English. And I could actually get my economics folder and fucking just teach about this. But honestly, I hate economics.
It's 1 in the morning. You hate economics, so why don't we just wrap it up?
Yeah, no, but basically the US created jobs by creating more projects involving, you know, I mean the Second World War actually came good for the US because it created a hell of a lot of jobs. Exactly. And at the end of the Depression, at the end of the Great Depression, they were creating a lot of jobs and people were indebting themselves. And what indebting does, it promises other people money, and this money can be turned into real capital if people do it, and if people don't speculate too much. This is a very efficient way to get a country out of like an economic recession. Also, another effective way is to change the currency, to make a new set of currency, which is what Europe obviously did. We have the euro now, which actually fixed a lot of things. Some people don't say it did, but you have to agree it did because it's actually kind of a fact. But yeah, basically that's like the very broad perspective of it. I could go more into detail, but it's very broad. So it's jobs and currency changing, and also another factor is that other currencies can be worth more than the dollar, and if you trade those other currencies in at a comfortable price for you, you might be able to save your country's economy. Because essentially, people without jobs is what will drag your economy down the most. And that again depends on conjuncture, which is like a thing that goes up and down. And there's two ideas of whatever. Basically, Keynesianism and monetarism are the both main like things that are in the conjunction. I can see you on your cam, so I'm gonna shut up.
I can see why you dislike economics so much. Just like.
Yeah, you made me flashback. You made me bring everything up. Like when you asked the question first, I was like, "Oh God, I don't actually know this." But then all this shit popped up into my head, and I was like, "No,
go away." Well, it was nice talking to you.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, that was weird. You're like, "Yay!" It did some weird effect. Well, I'll talk to you later. I hope that you enjoyed. Goodbye.
I'll see you, man. Good night. Goodbye.
Good night. Get some sleep.
Yeah, it's like
like
late.
3 in the morning.
Good night. Good night, Enigma man. You fucking German swearing. Whatever. Good night.
Alright, good night, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the call and I hope you enjoyed the show. We got to talk about some really good topics. Really good topics. Superb show. Like, this is what a solo stream should be. You know. Because, yeah. So I hope that anyone that joined had a great time. And I'll catch you all in the next one. I'm waiting for Enigma to say goodbye. It's just a way to monitor, might look into the files. Okay, yeah, that was about that weird thing. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.